at the context, yung parang verses earlier, verses 1 to 18. If you look at the verses 1 to 18, first he talks about giving to the needy. Pagbibigay sa mga nangangailangan. Then he talks about prayer. Then he talks about fasting. Tatlong bagay yung binanggit niya before verse 19. Yung context ng verse 19 to verse 21. Heavenly treasures refers here to acts of righteousness. Ano yung acts of righteousness na binanggit niya rito? First, giving to the needy. Pangalawa, sinasabi niya, praying. Pangatlo, sinasabi niya, fasting. And then he talks about, do not store treasures on this earth, but store treasures in heaven. With the context in mind, yung context na yun, yung pang bago sinabi niya in verse 19, ang ibig sabihin pa ng Jesus Christ dito, Jesus Christ is giving His people a new direction to use the resources in doing works of righteousness rather than using it to meet their needs and fulfill their desires and plans in life. So yung sinasabi ni Christ dito, okay, you have your treasures. These treasures na tinutukoy niya are acts of righteousness. You do acts of righteousness. You give to the poor, you pray for others, you do fasting, sabi niya, gawin niyo ito. And when you do this, these are treasures, these are heavenly treasures that you store. Instead of just using what you have para sa mga araw-araw and the things that we desire and we need to fulfill our plans in life. So ito yung tinutukoy niya rito, na treasures in heaven, heavenly treasures. Why? Bakit? Bakit sinasabi niya? Do not store treasures here in this earth. Why did he say store treasures in heaven? The verse says, because treasures on earth will not last forever. Treasures on earth will not last forever. Sabi niya, mayroon diyang mga, what? May moose. Mayroong rust. May kalawang. Mayroong mga magnanakaw. There are robbers. May sisira sa mga treasures na itatago mo. Ilalagay mo sa bangko, mananakaw pa rin. Alam niyo, maraming mga style ngayon ng nanakaw. Paulog-hulog ng pera, pupulutin mo, pagtingin mo, wala na pala yung mas malaki pang nawala sa iyo. Kaysa doon nahulog na pera na tinulog. Ang tao lang ng gang na yun. They do a lot, maraming style. That's why, yung iba gumagawa ng paraan para ma-prevent na hindi mawala yung kanilang money and investments. And yet, marami pa rin nawawala na investments. Why? Because sinabi na nga, earthly possessions, earthly treasures would not last. I just met a friend, just came in from abroad. And while he was there, nung pinagawa niya, yung kanyang pantalon, pinalagyan niya ng dito, ng parang hindi zipper. Kung ano lang, yung parang type na ganyan. Para kung mayroong dudukot ay, hindi mabuksan. Ang problema na nagkamalit yung mananahi, nabaliktad yung yung part ng matalas, nandito sa taas at tuwing dugot na sa kanyang busa, yung kanyang kamayan na susugatan dapat nabaliktad. Kasi sinabihan siya, papunta ka ng Pilipinas. Kailangan, lagyan mo ng protection yung bulsa mo. Hindi pa man ako nakasakay na aeroplano galing sa abroad, Pero pag sinasabi daw nila, pag malapit sa Pilipinas, they are near the Philippines. Bantay kayo. Maraming mawawala sa inyo. Pangit na, di ba? Worldly treasures, earthly treasures. said, Jesus Christ said, do not store up. You store works of righteousness in you. For what do we use our wealth at present? Ano ba pinagkagamitan natin ng ating resources today? Now, do not think in advance. Baka nag-isip kasi pastor naman. Sinasabi niya, hindi na bumibili ng kanin. Hindi na bumibili ng damit. No, I'm not saying that. I'll deal with that later on. Are we using it for things that has eternal worth and value? That means we're doing it acts of righteousness, not just to meet our needs and wants. Now, if there is one attitude, kung mayroong isang attitude na gusto ng Panginoong Diyos na gagawin natin, and that is the attitude of obedience. God wants us to obey, simply obey in everything. Para military, obey first before you complain. Sa Lord, talagang obedience. Hindi siya na-expect na mag-complain ka. He wants us to obey. Do not store up for yourselves treasures on earth. Are we obeying God's word? Second, treasures on earth and treasures in heaven. Verse 20. Treasures on earth and treasures in heaven. Now, more than the issue of how we use our wealth, Jesus here addresses a more deeper issue. Hindi lang yung how we use yung ating resources, how we use our wealth. Mayroong mas malalim na gustong i-address ni Christ dito sa text na ito. He wants us to realize, because maybe we have failed to realize, and maybe we are not ready to accept na nagkamali tayo. We refuse to admit. Now the issue is the issue of the heart. It's the issue of the heart. Ano sinabi sa verse 20? For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. Verse 20. What is your treasure right now? Ano yung treasure mo ngayon? Focus ba doon sa trabaho mo, sa job mo? If doon nakafocus sa job mo, kung yan ang tingin mo yung treasure mo, your heart will always be there. Kahit natutulog ka, kahit anong ginagawa mo, iniisip mo, ano kayong trabaho? If your treasure is on your what? On your business, your heart will always be there. Ano doon? Your heart. Because that's what obsessed you. Yan ang gusto mong gawin. If your treasure is on friend or special friend, that's where your heart will be also. Doon din nakafocus yung heart mo. Doon ka rin palagi nag-iisip. For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. Now, ang sinasabi niya rito, I want to say something there. One's spending is actually a reflection of his heart. Where do you spend your time? It's a reflection of your heart. Where do you spend your resources? Where do you spend your energy? Where do you spend things in your life? Saan? It is a reflection of your heart. Ano nasa puso mo? Lahat ng bagay ay talagang parang makikita doon sa reflection ng ating puso. What is more important to us? The concerns about God or our concerns? What does our heart value more at the moment? Ngayon, ano mas mahalaga? Anong focus ng ating puso? If we say God's purposes, then it follows